Halloween comes early to the Buzz with John Carpenter, Wes Craven, and the Mummy, and scary Mike Jarek here. This week, we strut our stuff down the Buzz fashion runway to unveil this year's most unique Halloween costumes. Director John Carpenter expounds on the trouble with horror films. Masters of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror go digital on CD-ROM. Plus, Wes Craven and Eddie Murphy draw blood with Vampire in Brooklyn.
Well, that's unfortunate, because that's what I liked about you.
Good evening, Buzzers. Halloween comes a little bit early here on the Buzz, and to get you in the mood, we have a couple of scary guys for you. First up is John Carpenter. He's going to give us a tongue lashing. Oh, how fun. Sounds delicious. I love pain. And then Wes Craven will show up for a little preview of his latest vampire concoction, starring Eddie Murphy, no less. But first, here's Johnny.
Why are there so few good horror movies made these days? I hear it all the time. I went to France recently to a film festival, and that was all anybody talked about. I was with Toby Hooper, Charles Russell, Frank Darabont. We all sat around and said, why are the ideas in horror movies either so bad or not supported by the audience? Basically, you are not supporting horror. Basically, the market for horror films has dropped 40% in the last 3 years. Horror movies go direct to video now. They go direct to video because there's not enough money to spend on them. Now, maybe that's because the ideas aren't original anymore. The critics are complaining that what we're doing is recycling old ideas and old themes over and over again. Look at Dracula, Francis Coppola's movie about Vlad the Impaler. Was it a brilliant film? No. Did people go to see it? Yes. Interview with a Vampire succeeded because of its stars and because it was based upon a very, very popular series of novels. Was it an original idea? No. Was it popular? Yes. But the problem is, original ideas in horror aren't supported. You're not going to see them. You're not running out there. You're not curious anymore. And that's a big problem for all of us. If you love horror, if you love science fiction, if you want to see something different on the screen, get out there and go see it.
This is Ray calling from Jersey City to remind you about the Chiller Theater Halloween Weekend Convention. See you there.
Well, I think that I'm beyond saving.
The new horror comedy Vampire in Brooklyn provided a change of pace for both director Wes Craven and star Eddie Murphy. Craven, the guru of gore, got a chance to make a comedy, something he's been dying to do for years. And comedian Murphy got a long-awaited chance to make a scary movie. Eddie plays a vampire who ventures to New York City in search of a lovely cop who is unaware of their unique bond. The brutal bloodsucker is able to transform himself in 1,000 different ways.
Preacher Paulie, preacher. I'm Preacher Paulie.
Had you ever worked with special effects before?
Never. This is the first movie I've ever done.
How does it adjust the acting process for you?
Oh, well, it basically it slows everything down considerably because, you know, you're at the mercy of plastic and oozing stuff.
For Murphy, the biggest surprise in making a Wes Craven fright flick was finding out what Freddy Krueger's creator is really like.
I thought that Wes was going to show up, you know, have the death cloak on, you know, with a sickle, you know, action, you know. But he's like, I call him Professor Wesley. He's like a college professor, and he has a real dry, dark sense of humor.
Now, once he says the vampire, we'll probably be in coverage for most of that. But
Meanwhile, Craven was amazed to find out that Murphy was a horror buff.
Now, when you heard Eddie Murphy as a vampire, honestly, what was your immediate reaction?
I thought that really sucked.
Well, he's supposed to suck. He's a vampire.
That was a bad joke. No, I was intrigued, you know. It came to me that my agent said, you know, Eddie is working on a vampire film, and he's a big horror fan, and he wants to meet you. And I was like, wow, he's a horror fan? He wants to meet me? He knows who I am? That's pretty amazing right there. And then I went in and had a meeting with him, and he said, Serpent in the Rainbow, you scared me. And then he starts doing all the voices from, you know, Zakes Mackay character in Serpent in the Rainbow. And he says, oh, the Hills of Eyes. And he starts doing Papa Jupiter. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. This
guy knows what he's talking about.
I've never danced like this before.
And now, you never stop.
But not all of the film stars were horror fans. Certainly not Angela Bassett, but that's okay. She's so cute.
Were you a fan of horror before this?
Unfortunately, I was not.
Yeah.
I remember growing up watching Dark Shadows. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And it just scared me to death.
Would you make a good vampire?
I'm too nice to be a vampire.
Oh, please.
Would you mind if I bit you?
Well, not at all, actually.
So I ain't really see you. You know, I'm blind. I got, like, cataracts. Contacts. I got stigmatism, man. I can't see. I'm blind. Where you at? Where you at? See, look. Where you at?
Besides being Wes Craven's first comedy, Vampire in Brooklyn is the director's first big-budget studio picture with big stars. The ample budget allowed the director to use sophisticated digital techniques. But like Smith Barney, Craven prefers to do things the old-fashioned way.
I still, I think, rely much more on physical special effects than I do on, you know, the ship crashing through the docks and everything we just did.
Yeah.
It just really went out and crashed things up, and it's much easier than trying to do it all as opticals or miniatures.
Craven admits that Vampire in Brooklyn is a chancy picture because it's not easy to walk that fine line between horror and comedy. Plus, this marks the first time that Murphy has played a primarily serious role and not a very nice guy. But Craven feels he personally needed to do something different to recharge his creative batteries. And maybe something different is what Eddie Murphy needs to recharge his career. Video game hater Harlan Ellison finally comes out with his own computer game. And how to be the best-dressed demon on your block this Halloween. Next. You know, horror comes in many forms, my friends. Books and movies and stuff like that. But now there's high-tech horror. Oh, on CD-ROM.
I am the High Priestess of the Temple of the Triangle. Welcome, and learn what I have to teach.
The CD-ROM industry has grown enormously in the past few years, and several industrious young companies are clawing for a piece of the computer action.
Does he get to converse with different characters in Dark World as well?
Oh yeah, there.
Cyber Dreams, located in Southern California, was founded in 1990 when CD-ROMs were still a convoluted concept to the majority of the population. The company made a name for itself in 1993 with Dark Seed, an award-winning title that utilized the eerie artwork of Swiss designer H.R. Giger. Andrew Balzer, Director of Sales and Marketing, says that by blending creative talent with cutting-edge technology, the company has found its niche in a competitive marketplace.
What we've done is we've teamed up with world-famous artists, writers, and designers, and we've brought their expertise into the computer world in creating games for CD-ROM, for Macintosh, IBM, and set-top station.
Don't bother me, human. Can't you see I'm floating?
A sequel to Dark Seed is due out in November. As in the first game, Dark Seed 2 follows a writer named Mike Dawson into a weird parallel universe called Dark World. And fear not, Director of Development David Mullock assures us Giger's macabre monsters are creepier and more colorful than ever.
We're after a much higher graphics resolution this time around, with the capabilities of computers being much higher than they were several years ago. In the original game, we had 16-color graphics this time around. We have 256 colors.
You named me Allied Master Computer and gave me the ability to wage a global war too complex for human brains to oversee.
Harlan Ellison has chosen to collaborate with Cyber Dreams on his first and only venture into the computer game scene. Based on his popular short story, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, the game has been stirring up controversy for months, even though it won't be out until mid-November.
It's not like an arcade game where people just bang, bang, bang. It is a game that is supposed to make you think. It's supposed to disturb you and upset you and unsettle you, and I don't know of any other games that are like that.
The storyline for the game picks up where the short story leaves off. 5 protagonists have been tortured by a crazed computer for 109 years, and now each is being sent on a horrid adventure. One of the story tracks involves a Holocaust scenario, and therein lies the controversy.
At one of the computer shows where a preliminary version of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream was being showed, somebody showed up and got very upset about this track and said it was very disturbing, very upsetting, and it trivialized the Holocaust. Well, let me tell you something. I'm a Jew. The only way you could trivialize the Holocaust is if you forget it.
Where have you been, Nimdok? We are waiting on you to perform. You were waiting for me?
We're trying to go beyond something that merely passes the time. We're trying to create something that by playing it, it was worth your time. And trying to explore ways to create something that's truly interactive literature. Otherwise, what's the point of hooking up with creative geniuses like Harlan Ellison and H.R. Giger?
Well, Cyber Dreams must be doing something right. Wes Craven, the twisted mind behind Nightmare on Elm Street, just signed on to create a game based on an original idea of his. Freddy Krueger in a CD-ROM game? Who knows? This company is full of surprises.
This is Steve from Chicago. I wanted to tell everyone about a great magazine I found called Monster Scene. The new issue features a story on the career of Paul Blaisdell and Bob Burns, same Bob from Bob's Basement on Sci-Fi Buzz. This issue has articles by people like Vincent Price, rockabilly singer Ron Haydock, and obviously Bob Burns and Paul Blaisdell. I got my copy at Barnes & Noble. It was $7.95, and I think it's worth every penny. You should all go out and buy one.
Halloween's just around the corner, so here on The Buzz, we're going to have a Halloween fashion show for you. The best in costumes. Here's our expert. Kim is from Spencer Gifts, and these are the most popular, the most unusual, maybe, the most fun of your costumes, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, who do you want to start with?
I'll start with Freddy Krueger.
Oh, Freddy's here. Yikes, he brought his claw.
Freddy is a Halloween classic, and all you need to be a great Freddy is the sweater, his mask, and you absolutely have to have the glove.
And this is the #1 seller?
Yes.
Freddy, how much is a claw?
Costs $10.
And how about that lovely sweater?
Sweater's $20.
Get out of here, Freddy. We're not afraid of you. Look, it's the Crypt Keeper. I'm so scared. Now, how much is this outfit?
You can get the mask for $35 and the costume for $30. Crypt Keeper is Spencer Gift's official mascot this year.
Now, where do you get the hands? How much is it? Oh, those are actually his hands.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
I can't supply those.
Wow, he's nasty looking, huh? Get out of here, Crypt, or Keeper. He is a keeper, isn't he?
I like him.
He's cute. Oh, it's a Starfleet commander. Hello, sir. Good to see you.
This is a Vulcan from Star Trek The Next Generation, and it's an exact replica of the shirt that they wear on the show. And it comes with the pips and the badge.
And the ears sold separately?
Sold separately.
How much are ears these days?
Oh, around $7.50.
I hear you. And the Starfleet outfit?
$40.
Nicely done. Bye-bye. Beam out of here. Oh, things are improving. Lovely. What's her name?
This is the Spider Vamp, and every woman likes to dress up as a bad girl for Halloween.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you, Kim? How about the wig? How much is that?
The wig's $20, and the costume's $50, and the essential fishnet tights are $5.
Look at those gams. How much are the fishnets?
$5.
Not that I'm interested or anything, but could I get a gross of them?
Absolutely, I can supply you.
Does she have to leave? Oh, we have somebody else.
We can keep her.
Oh, it's Batman. Batman Returns. Or is it Forever?
It's Forever. This is from the summer's blockbuster hit, Batman Forever.
Now this guy looks naturally macho. I don't know who the model is, but I guess there's a chest plate there.
The chest plate comes with it, so just in case you're not macho like our model.
Exactly. How much is the whole thing?
The whole thing is $65.
That looks good. That looks pretty good, darn good. Look at the jawline on this guy. Wow, that's better than Michael Keaton, don't you think?
The lips aren't quite as good as Val Kilmer, though.
Oh, Kim, we got a little crush going here. Thank you, Pat. Oh, it's Prince.
This is our Grim Reaper.
Oh, Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper.
This is nice. Looks a little more expensive than the other ones, maybe.
No, this one's only $40 for the whole costume, and it's great because no one will know who you are. You can go to a party, do whatever you want, and no one knows behind that mask.
And yet breathable?
Absolutely.
Jimmy Durante on steroids. Look at the size of that nose.
No, this is Melvin Magician. This is my favorite character for Halloween this year.
Why is it your favorite? What is it about him? Size of his nose? Yeah, this is impressive, though. You imagine walking into a party like this? Man, how much is it?
This mask costs $100.
Oh, that's all?
That's it. It's $100.
I thought it'd be more than that.
No. It's a work of art.
That is nice. That's the one I want.
You can have it.
I gotta tell you, Kim, these costumes are cool. But why don't you have a costume on?
But Mike, I do.
The classic movie monster that made Ace Bandages famous after this delightful diversion. Perhaps the most terrifying moment in The Mummy, and all the Mummy sequels, and all horror movies for that matter, is this one, when a heretofore sane archaeologist is instantly transformed into a madman. It's a logical reaction for someone who has just witnessed the rebirth of a 3,000-year-old corpse, but that makes it no less chilling.
He went for a little walk. You should have seen his face.
Moments like this elevate mere movies to masterpieces. They made 1932's The Mummy the fourth ghoul in Universal's horror crown after Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman.
Permit me to present you with the most sensational find since that of Tutankhamun.
The Mummy was inspired by the discovery of the tomb of the 19-year-old Egyptian king Tutankhamun in the early 1920s. When several members of that expedition died, most of natural causes, the yellow press claimed they were victims of an ancient curse.
No one has entered this door since the priests of the royal necropolis sealed it.
Those who plunder the booty of Egypt's royal dead must die. That theme runs throughout all 5 Mummy films. There's also a romantic current as the lonesome mummy tries to reunite with his beloved dead virgin princess.
If I could get my hands on you, I'd break your dried flesh to pieces.
Boris Karloff gives a moving yet reserved performance as the mummy, the mysterious Imhotep. Except during his petrifying rebirth, Karloff is never seen in his mummified state. This film's eerie terror relies not on grotesque shockers, but the grim mood.
Caris never really died.
The Mummy sequels of the 1940s take a more by-the-numbers approach to the above scenario. In The Mummy's Hand, Tom Tyler stars as the lovesick and vengeful mummy. Now called Charis and silenced by having had his tongue ripped out by the pharaoh, the mummy is revived by the forbidden tana leaves.
Let me go!
Horror films became more action-oriented in the 40s, featuring non-communicative zombie-like monsters. Charis was cut from this cloth. After his fiery demise in The Mummy's Hand, Charis returned to life in even worse shape for 3 more sequels. In The Mummy's Tomb, the monster is left with only one good eye, a crippled arm, and an undignified limp.
I'll take her back, Caris. Together we'll go to Arkham. The 3 of us, I swear it.
Lon Chaney Jr. played the mummy in the last 3 films. Charis was one of his least favorite characters. The restrictive makeup and repetitious plots posed few challenges for the actor. And he had to spend much too much time with makeup master Jack Pierce, a man Chaney was known to despise.
You cannot stay here another hour. In a room beneath the chapel, I found the bodies of freshly murdered men.
But together, Chaney, Pierce, Tom Tyler, and Boris Karloff created a lasting icon of popular culture. With or without tana leaves, the mummy will no doubt live on. We'll hammer home some hot video viewing ideas on this week's Buzz Best Bets.
Both mad, aren't we? We're both mad!
The famed British studio Hammer Films has produced some of the most hailed horror fare ever made. 4 macabre movies from the early 60s have just been released on home video as part of MCA Universal's Hammer Horror Collection.
Good evening, Lord Ambrose.
Take off that ridiculous mask when you speak to me.
First up, there's Phantom of the Opera, which stars Herbert Lom as the disfigured composer. This was the 3rd screen version of the horror classic and is one of Hammer Films' most popular productions. Paranoiac also sits atop the Hammer horror heap. This malignant tale of twists and curses and mistaken identities stars Oliver Reed as a devastatingly cruel brother who's out to control the family fortune. And rounding out our Hammer Films Fright Fest, there's Kiss of the Vampire and Nightmare. Those are this week's Buzz Best Bets.
Hey Buzzers, thanks for being here for our graveyard get-together. Yeah, I was just thinking that Bela Lugosi was born this time of year and how perfect that is. Let's all celebrate by dressing up like vampires. You know, dressing for success. Won't it be fun? You can run around the neighborhood and scare the kids. Me and my brother here, we're gonna go down to the local bar and order us some Bloody Marys. Won't that be a hoot? Well, anyway, do something ghoulish. We'll be looking for you on Halloween. Fries, anybody? Sure.
The mysteries of aliens, the magic of Houdini, the miracles of angels. Now the real stories and events are explained in a thrilling original series, Mysteries, Magic, and Miracles, hosted by Patrick McNee. Coming up next.